Buckle up, c***s. Welcome to episode 20 of the Canuckleheads podcast. My name is Justin. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Wes. And we got some games to talk about. We missed a day here, so we're going to cover the Anaheim game, but we'll kick things off with the Toronto game. This was February 12th, 2022. Toronto in Vancouver. Always a bit of a show when the Leafs come to town. The arena is always 50-50 Canucks and Leafs fans, as I believe it is pretty much anywhere Toronto goes.
Yeah.
Same with Montreal. They're kind of just one of those clubs that has a massive
cult following, yeah.
If we wanted this thing to get huge, we probably should have done a Leafs podcast. But So Thatcher Demko, Peter Mrazek at the start tonight. Jason Dickinson was back in after being scratched for, I believe, his first time as a Canuck. So with this one, we had a goal by JT Miller, assisted by Bo. Bo drove to the net hard, got Mrazek's stick through his skates, wiped out. They were looking at this one, the Toronto bench, for like goaltender interference, but
there was no interference there.
Was a good goal.
Yeah.
And good job by Bo and Besser to drive to the net hard to cause some chaos there, and Miller kind of potted one. Mrazek ran into his own defenseman there, so not much he could do.
No.
Also, Travis Hamnick was back for the first time in what feels like 6 months.
Yeah, it didn't even feel like he was on the team anymore.
You guys remember Travis Hamnick? He's a Canuck.
Yeah.
And then we had a goal on the power play by Brock Besser. Gets to the rebound off a point shot from OEL. Great play by JT Miller to knock the puck down, keep it in play. It's usually, you get so used to them kind of fumbling things on the power play that you almost just expect that one to clear the zone. But it was a good play and led to a goal from Bess, and OEL keeps rolling here with his point streak. So this was 2-0 Vancouver after one. Then in the third, we had a goal from, in the second, we had a goal from Lamico, who gets the rebound on a Chason point shot. So Chason getting an assist, and again, not on the power play. And Lamico just continues to really show that he's a player for this team. Like the Brandon Sutter injury, or not injury, but like COVID situation kind of opened a roster spot for this guy. And under Green didn't really look like he fit in, but now has kind of earned himself a role on this team. And
yeah, you could tell Green just had no confidence in him, and I feel like he didn't really have a seat on the team. And then all of a sudden, new coach comes in. Look at this guy now.
Yeah, I believe he's got, as of right now, 4 goals under Bruce Boudreau. So
and
for a fourth line center, that's what you want.
And he's been winning draws like crazy. Like, remember Jason Dickinson? He's supposed to be a centerman. He can't win a draw to save his life. So thank God we have Lamico right now.
Yeah. So this was 3-2 Vancouver after 2. Then in the third period, we had a negated empty netter on an offside from JT Miller, which was like as close to an offside as you can get. Like when they showed the replay, I was looking at it, I was like, it's Toronto, so they're gonna call it no goal, but man, was it close.
Yeah, dragging the skate just past the line. So
Thatcher Demko had 51 saves in this game. Was absolutely ridiculous.
First star of the game, no doubt about it.
Just about tied a franchise record for most saves in a win, I believe, which was 52. So, like, lights out Demko. Just like he has been all year, basically.
Yeah, literally the MVP of that game by far.
Yeah. And yeah, this was, like, don't let the score fool you. This was all Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Canucks had, like, maybe 26 shots on net.
Yeah.
So, like, the Leafs were basically doubling them.
We had a good first period, but then it was just Leafs from there on, and Demko stood strong and kept us in the game.
Like he always does.
Yeah.
That was February 12th. So then we had a game, February 17th, 2022, against the San Jose Sharks in San Jose. Demko and Reimer get the start. Quinn Hughes and Matthew Highmore back from COVID protocol for this one. So good to see both those guys back.
Yeah.
Again, like, Hughes is Hughes, we know what he is, but Highmore is another guy that's kind of earned himself a role in this team.
I've been loving Highmore's play lately.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this on an episode before, how we don't, for a long time, it seems like we don't really have lines, we have pairs. But this Highmore, Lamico, and Mott is a line.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first here we had a goal from Besser on a great passing play from Miller and OEL.
Yep.
And then just nice patience from Besser. He kind of cut into the middle and picked a corner over Reimer. We talked about this before we started. Like, this was Besser's first snipe in what feels like weeks, but he's still been scoring. He's just been scoring the greasy in front of the net tap-in goals or deflections. So.
Yep, it was nice to see him shoot the puck and get a goal because it's been a little while.
Yeah. Then we had another goal from Quinn Hughes on just a weird bounce from the point shot. It was the second he let it go, the puck was just fluttering, and then the Shark player tipped it down, and it bounced off the ice and just went up and over Reimer's glove.
Yeah, crazy bounce. Goalie had no chance, but sick to see Huggy get another goal because he definitely deserves it.
Tied with Luke Shen now.
Yeah.
So this was 2-0 for the Canucks after one.
Yeah.
And the second we had a goal from Lamico. The puck hit him off a Burrows point shot, but still he was screening the goalie.
He was doing his job.
Yeah.
Got
go to the front of the
rewarded.
net, get a greasy one.
Yeah.
Anytime your fourth line can contribute, it's just a bonus.
Cherry on top.
Yeah. So this was 3-2 after 2. And then in the third, we had a goal from Garland, who got a greasy one on his own rebound after a Burrows point shot again.
And that was a weird one on the camera, like from the above camera. It looked like it kind of just trickled over top of the goalie.
Yeah.
Then you see it from the behind the net angle. He absolutely shelved the rebound. I was like, oh, unreal.
He did, yeah. And it was a good play by Garland and Petey to drive the net hard again. Two Canucks going hard to the net, and it pays off with a goal.
Putting pressure on the goalie, making him panic a bit, and just roofing it.
So this was a 9:30 puck drop for me and Wes here, 9:30 p.m. And this third period was a roller coaster of a third period.
Yeah.
The Sharks tied it early in the third, 3-3. Garland gets this goal with like 4.5 minutes left. So it's 4-3 Vancouver, and then here come the Sharks with 0.6 seconds left in the third.
Oh, I was so mad.
We were texting each other. We were like, this game was destined to go to overtime. 9:30 puck drops, guaranteed overtime.
Work the next day. It's like, okay, I guess we're staying up for another little period here. But
in overtime, we had a goal from JT Miller on a delayed power play. Just a nice shot from the circle. Tyler Mott was screening in front and just ended it.
And was this I'm pretty sure this was the game JT took 2 stupid penalties earlier in the game. Cost us. And Justin texted me. He's like, now watch. JT Miller, he'll come out and get the game winner. Sure enough.
First, Wes texted me and said, JTB and JT. I'm like, yep, seriously. We know this team.
Yeah.
So, Canucks win this one 5-4 in overtime. Kind of wish they would have got this one done in regulation. Like
we should have.
Point San Jose, it kind of sucks, but you get that extra one. So
yeah.
Then we got a goal. We have a game against the Anaheim Ducks in Vancouver, February 19th. This is the game that we would have been covering next week, but we had some friends in town, so we had to delay a day of recording here. So Demko and Gibson start. No Getzlav for Anaheim. I guess he was hurt in Edmonton, I believe. In this one, Burrows was hurt on his first shift of the game. Just got hit into the boards and just left.
Yeah, Delorier just freaking nailed him, man. He's a big boy, so definitely Boudreau said after the game that it's looking like it won't be a short-term thing. It'll be a long-term thing, which sucks because I've been loving Burrows' game. But...
Yeah, and he's been chipping in offensively, too. Like I think there's not much more offensively Burrows' game, but there's more there than he's showed so far, and that's great because he's been good, really good.
And he plays with a lot of grit. He throws big hits. Like, every time he hits a guy, you just hear it around the arena. Like, he's a monster.
He's kind of like an amalgamation of Chris Tanev and Kevin Bieksa, but just less good versions of those two guys. Like, he's good defensively, but funny. He plays that tough game like Bieksa did.
No, 100%. He can't throw a Superman punch like Juice could, but... No one can.
So this was 3-0 Anaheim after one, and this was very much like the New York Islanders game where just the Canucks were getting smothered. This wasn't Demko's fault.
No.
They just did not play good.
They did the exact same thing that they did to Halak.
Yes.
Just completely gave him no support, deflections from every angle. Like, what are you supposed to do as a goalie?
Yeah. And Wes and I we were texting that during the game. Like, it's like they just forget how to play hockey for stretches.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, after 3 right away, you're thinking the same thing in the Halak game. Like, pull the goalie, but it's Demko.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them for giving him those. Wait until the extra 2 went in, and then putting Halak in. And Halak played great once he came in. And I mean. It is what it is at that point. The boys did seem to kind of elevate their game a little bit, but frickin' sad that it's been taking 5 goals to fire the boys up.
Slow as mud in that first period.
Isn't that crazy? Like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. So then in the second, we had a goal from Pearson. Petey with a good puck steal. I don't know who he took the puck from. Some player on the Anaheim Ducks. But,
doesn't even matter. Yeah. Screw the Anaheim Ducks.
Garland made a nice pass to Pearson, who just beat Gibson.
Yeah.
And this one, too, with Gibson being in net, you give up 3 goals. I knew that was over because Gibson was going to just shut it down.
Yeah.
We'll kind of get to the score here a little bit, but...
But it is funny because Gibson's been having some trouble as of late. So I was hoping, like, first period, we're just going to start firing pucks on him. I think we had 1 shot in, like, the first period horrendous. And something. It was terrible, man. And both let a ripper go, like an 80-some-mile-an-hour wrist shot goes off the blocker. They don't count that as a shot. Yeah. I was like, what?
Then we had another goal on the power play, a vintage PD one-timer, and a good pass from Hughes, and he just beat Gibson. Just clean. It was just a classic PD one-timer. Yeah,
whenever PD makes a shot like that, all I do is send out the alien emoji. Yep. That's it.
Scoring from Area 51 in the Petter zone. So this was 6-2 Anaheim after 2. Demko got pulled. Halak went in. In the third, we had a goal from Connor Garland, which is a crazy backhander, like from the goal line, basically just beat Gibson, like kind of went behind his head and hit the top corner, like just a weird goal. But
and this is what we've talked about Garland before, is like he'll throw pucks from crazy angles and catch goalies off guard. This one, the goalie didn't have a chance because it was completely shelved. But I mean, pucks are coming from weird angles with Garland, and I love it.
Yeah, me too. And then we had a goal from Quinn Hughes. Just ripped it from the point and beat Gibson. Highmore and Lamico were both screening him, so nothing he could do on this one. This one was 7-4 Anaheim. And so, yeah, with Gibson being in net, like the score doesn't really surprise me because Anaheim got off to such a big lead. So he's not like...
He's not worried.
He doesn't know, like, I have to bring my A game. So the 4 goals is kind of a fluke. Like, Gibson is great against the Canucks. Gibson is usually good, but...
what did they say, like 12-4 or
something
like
ridiculous
that?
It was that. Stupid. Like, he just always beats us. Most of the time...
It's like Fleury.
Yeah, gets a shutout or lets in a goal. So
Yeah, just with how shaky he's been as of late, I was hoping we'd come out just firing pucks and worry him right away. Like, oh shit, it's going to be another one of those nights.
Like, that's the number one center. Like,
100%.
You know, he's not prime Getzlav, but you take that guy out of the lineup, like,
and
that's a big body.
100%, and he drives their power play sometimes. Like, he's a big piece to have missing. So
and like, wheels aside, like, you don't need to have wheels to run a power play. He's still just as skilled as he has ever been. Like,
and I don't want to throw Luke Schen's name out there when you're talking about Getzlav, but Luke Schen's another one of those guys, doesn't really have wheels, but he's always in the right position. Most of the time, 90% of the time, he's in the right position. He's a very smart player. It's kind of how Getzy is too, just really freaking smart, hockey IQ through the roof. He doesn't have to have wheels.
No.
So...
Yeah, and his game has never been a speed game. He's just a big body that, like, we talked about it, I think, with Thornton too, right?
Yeah.
Just positioning. That's all he needs, like, because he's so big and strong that he can keep the puck from anybody. He's not going to beat you in a foot race. If you knock it off him, like, you're gone. But
he'll just hold you off with one hand. And...
Very rarely happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our 3 games that we went over this week. Weird scheduling again. Like I was telling this to Wes, the game where the Islanders throttled us. By the time the Canucks played their next game after that, the Islanders lost 4 in a row and then won a game. So just weird scheduling by the NHL, but I think we're through all that now, and finally
we get some consistency.
Yeah, pretty consistent schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does it for the games this week. We did have a couple things to go over here too. The first thing let's talk about is because Wes and I, we try to save it for the show, but we just wind up talking Canucks anyways, so we were both talking about this a little bit. I'm glad we had to delay a night because that Anaheim game has like firmly cemented my belief that we need to make some trades. And surprisingly, Wes too. Wes was telling me he's ready to ship out everybody.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not like that at all. Like, I had so much belief in this group coming into the season.
I did too.
And it just, the way it's went so far has just put an extremely bad taste in my mouth. And now it's to the point where it's like, I don't care who gets traded. This team needs to change.
And I think why I came to grips with that a little sooner than you is because, like, obviously we get attached to players, but I've been, like, watching the team, like, religiously a little bit more than you. I've seen my favorite players get traded or signed somewhere else, right?
100%.
I watched
you have a Kassian jersey. You have a Kessler jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You've been
I've watched
through
Naslund sign with the Rangers. You know, I've seen Olin sign with the Lightning. Shit like
100%.
So
you've been through it.
Like I get attached to players and stuff, but I can also let it go a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like I'm more mature than you. It's just
that's how it is.
How it goes. Yeah.
100%.
So like, I'm all aboard the trade JT Miller train.
Me too.
For me personally, I think you keep Brock. I think you keep Garland. You listen on Bo. If you got to get like an amazing offer to ship out Bo.
Yeah.
You try and trade Poolman. I think you keep Shen because you don't get a lot back unless you get amazing deals for these guys, right? Like
Shen. I want to keep Shen. Like I feel like he's been
worth
a rock.
more than you're gonna get. I think,
exactly
for us.
He's been a rock for us too. Like the boys love Shen, and he puts the body on the line every night. He's willing to stick up for the boys, and we don't have many guys like that on our team. Like Hamnick should be one of those guys, but. He just hasn't.
You try and ship out Hamnick if you can. It'd be hard, but
He's first train out of here. If I can get him out of here, he's first train out of here. He's kind of stuck where he's at because no one's going to pay him $6 million.
I think next year or the year after, you can maybe trade Myers. He's got a limited no trade, but also his actual salary is way down after that 5th year.
Yeah.
So.
Which this season, honestly, he's been putting up big minutes and doing okay.
He hasn't been horrendous. We said
before he was worse.
Yeah, I think we said early on in the show that you just want to see consistency from him. Like he doesn't need to be the guy putting up points.
Yeah.
And he's been okay offensively, but he's not been horrendous defensively all year. So
for sure.
Probably the best we've seen Myers play as a Canuck so far.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is his best season. Just because, like, positionally and just the way he's playing, he's not giving up too many pucks. Like, he still does from game to game, just whip one from the corner right out in front of our own net. Quinn did that the other night, bounced off Halak. I was like, Quinn, what are you doing?
Yeah, like how we were talking about how they forget to play hockey. That was clearly Quinn Hughes forgot to play hockey for a sec there.
Also, it's crazy. Quinn always makes tape-to-tape passes. Last night
was a little off.
Way off. I've never seen Quinn fumble that many passes.
But also had a long break from COVID. So
for sure.
Cut him a little bit of slack because he is Quinn Hughes.
But that's the thing. Like, usually it's tape to tape every time. He was passing to the skates way behind guys.
You know what's funny, too, is he had a perfect pass to PD for that one time. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that rarely happens.
Yeah.
And also scored a goal. So.
That's the thing, because Petey's so damn picky, but that was right in his wheelhouse. And
maybe Quinn just has to start feeding everybody else garbage.
Well, honestly, like it was like how you were telling me, Matthews or
Martin or Matthews.
Yeah, he was just whipping him stuff outside of his wheelhouse, and he just had to make it work.
Yep.
And just doing that, Petey needs to just do that for like a week straight, and just figure out like, okay, the pass doesn't have to be perfectly in the right spot, and I can still let it go and get it to the right spot.
And even if he just doesn't throw a one-timer, just like gets the puck and just launches it like a wrist shot, any shot PD takes is lethal or has the potential to be lethal. So he doesn't need to just rip one. He can just like sling it on net. It's still pot 30 a year. So
we're both in firm belief. Obviously, Quinn, PD, those are Demko.
Yeah, for me, those are the three
strongest
guys.
foundation.
They're
right
not
now.
Going anywhere at all. Like
100%.
The rest of them, you listen to.
Yeah,
like we said too. Bess is such a smart player. Just he's got that offensive flair. So you think of him as a lesser overall player, but he's not. He's a really smart player. You don't trade him unless you're getting an amazing offer back.
100%. Like
same thing with Bo. Like
well, let's talk Bess first.
Okay.
So with Bess, the only thing in his game right now that's really making me mad is when he's got an opportunity to lay the body, he doesn't. That's really driving me nuts because like we have to break teams down. You have to lay those hits to help gas the other team out, help take some of their momentum away. And when you just keep letting them off the hook like that, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good at all. Like you see, like it makes the work that Shen does, the work that Petey did last night, it makes that go to waste if you're not doing it too. Everyone has to be fully committed here.
And you see like Garland will throw hits. Hoglander will throw hits.
Everybody.
Right? Like, smaller guys like just.
I see
and
Bess
Bess
though.
Isn't small.
No.
Like, Bess can throw a hit.
The guy has bricks for fists. I still think he should scrap somebody one day because Bess is meaner than he thinks he is. He's a bit soft up here, but trust me, man, he's built for it. Besser's solid.
Bess is a tough guy.
He is.
Like in all aspects of his life for everything he has had to go through. But I don't think you trade Besser unless you're getting the world back for him.
Trust me, he's my favorite player. And you never hear me talk like this about Brock Besser. It's just the frustration from these past few games where it's like letting 5 in 2 periods. That's unacceptable.
And Wes and I were talking about this too before the show started. Like, Bess isn't a driver. He's just a really good... He needs to be dragged into the fight, but he's a really good piece if you have a driver 100%. Like Petey.
Yep.
Petey is a driver. So is Miller.
Yeah.
And that's why Besser doesn't ever really, like, fade away or be super unnoticeable. Like, he's always doing something. It's a lot of the... Like, not a lot of the times, but sometimes when he's not scoring, it's hard to really appreciate him because he's just making smart plays, like, away from the puck or defensively. Like,
and I don't want to take any of that away from his game. Like, that's never a question in my mind with him. It's just some of the physicality stuff where it's like Petey threw the most hits last game. Boudreau even said Petey doesn't have to do that. But you can tell he's trying to send a message like, I want to win this hockey game. Let's go out there and put the bodies on the line.
Yep.
Let's go out here and be physical and be hard to play against. And when you see Besser just letting guys throw the puck off the boards and he just cuts away from them, no. Throw the body, man. Lean into the guy. Let him know. You touch that puck, I'm coming for you. And that's what, like, Bieksa, all these guys that have had such a legendary run on the Canucks, that's what they do.
Yeah, they were all physical players. And, I totally lost my train of thought again. I'm getting bad for this here.
No, that's okay. But one switch up that I've liked from Boudreau as of late is playing fucking Bo, JT, and Bess.
Yes.
That's kind of cool
that
because
has been good.
Horvat always gets the short end of the stick with his wingers.
Always.
And I'm sure that's got to be frustrating for him. Like, I've been knocking, like, Bo Horvat's game a little bit, and I know he's not playing his best hockey right now.
Could definitely be playing better, and he'll admit it. He
exactly.
Has admitted it, so.
But that's why I like that Boudreau kind of sees that and gives him 2 solid wingers.
Yeah,
he's
give
like,
him a chance.
Exactly. Bo usually has to do the most on his line because he's playing with rookies and just throwaways.
Or slower guys like that aren't play drivers either.
Exactly. So now Boudreau's like, okay, here you go, Bo. Now go do something.
Yeah.
I love that.
So let's talk about this then, Wes, since we're kind of on the trade topic.
Yeah.
To me, there's only really, like, 2 guys that I think you can trade for sure. Mm-hmm. Miller, you can absolutely ship out. 100%. And I think Pearson you can get rid of. Like,
I hope Pearson. I hope. He's been so quiet as of late, and
Scored a goal, but
I get that, and that was a beautiful setup
nice
from Garland. But anyway, he's been very quiet as of late. And JT, you trade him while he's up here.
Yes.
A couple years from now.
And you know what? This is why you don't trade Bess either, because like his value is not at his highest. It's
for sure.
It's like maybe mid
range.
But
yeah.
Yes, Miller, like, probably. This is the time to do it.
This is his peak, man. Like, it's time.
And, like, if you hold on to him till the deadline, like, I think the price kind of just goes higher and higher. Like, there's been tons of jokes on Twitter because he's been just scoring massive goals. Like,
but that's good for us.
Yeah, yes, and like the Rangers are the big team rumored for him. So like every time it happens, somebody's all like, "Oh, it's 7 first-round picks now, New York." You know?
Yeah, the price is going up by the game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because we talked about this a little bit off the show. Apparently, like, Claude Giroux, like, he's rumored to be in trades right now, but New York's a team that apparently there's rumblings about with him. So I wonder if that changes things for JT Miller or what. I don't know, but...
Yeah, like, I think... Trying not to be biased, I think Miller is probably the big fish. Like, Giroux's a little older, like, not a bad player, but just, like, Miller's still got the wheels. He's in the prime of his career. 100%,
and he's making crazy moves.
Yeah, and a valuable contract that still has another year on it, right?
Yeah.
So he's not just a rental if he gets traded now.
Yeah.
Giroux could definitely help a team out, just a little bit older, like, doesn't quite
You're not going to have him for as long.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like Miller you can trade. I think you can trade Pearson fairly easily. Like, maybe you have to, I don't know, like, take a little bit of salary back on a shorter term deal or something. But, like, you've seen Rutherford traded him already out of Pittsburgh to us.
Yep.
So, not really a Rutherford guy because he's not fast. Like, he doesn't drive play. He's just a solid piece. Would be a great third liner on a contender.
Yeah.
Like the Rangers, maybe.
But this is what I like about our new management. These guys are not scared to make big trades.
Yeah.
And that's what we need right now because our team is in shambles.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were going to have a completely different season. Like, you guys heard my goal predictions. I was out to lunch because I thought this is going to be the best season of hockey I've seen in a long time. And it's just... way worse than I thought it was going to be. And this team doesn't work. It's clear now. They threw Demko to the frickin' wolves the past 2 games, and Demko being Demko fights through it most of the time, but I mean, he's human too. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's going to have an off night, and I love how when they pulled him, you seen him chirping Mizey, like, what the hell were you doing, man? Like, I like how they had that little back and forth.
Yeah, that they had that interaction. But you also saw him go right to the locker room to cool down a little bit.
He was hot.
Like, and none of those goals were his fault. Like,
if I was him, I would have been standing behind the bench where Boudreaux's standing saying, you guys effing suck. You didn't support me at all. Next time, I'm going to step out of the way of the next shot if you guys don't play like this in front of me. I would have been pissed if I was Demko. And I'm sure he was. He's a competitive guy.
Yeah.
He knows, like, okay, now my percentages just went down because you idiots. Like, I was having a great season. You guys are just not helping me out whatsoever.
Still is having a great season.
Just
one bad game. Well, not one bad team game in front of him.
Bad.
But, and so let's keep on the trade talk here.
Yeah.
We have some immovable pieces, right? Like, you can't trade Myers yet. You can't trade OEL. Like,
he's locked up.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just sucks because of the term, or like the cap hit.
Yeah.
But OEL's been good. I like him, and I'm all right with having him around.
I'm all right with having Myers, OEL, obviously Quinn, but like Hamnick.
Yeah, Hamnick.
Out of here.
Pullman can go. Like,
out of here.
I don't dislike Pullman's game, but we don't need him.
And look at him. He's like Hamnick now. I haven't seen him in weeks. So I mean, he's dealing with some like head issues. Yeah,
so let's not sure. Pullman just.
I don't want to go too hard. I'm fired up, obviously, but. There's some guys that gotta go, and I was even talking Bo trade stuff. Like, and I don't ever say that. Like, I love Bo, but at the end of the day, I feel like he's not. Obviously, his game's not where it should be right now, so he can't really chirp guys too much, like on his own team. But I want him to be the guy that's hard on guys a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not really part of his game, but I want it to become a part of his game.
Yeah, like you want a little more JT Miller out of your Bo.
Exactly, and JT. It comes out of him. But
and you know what? You want a little more Bo Horvat out of your JT Miller.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. They could learn a little off each other. But with JT, it's like that thing where he kind of throws temper tantrums every now and again, so you're not really listening to him.
Yeah.
You listen to him a little bit because he's a smart player, but it's like, all right, buddy, he takes stupid penalties.
Tune him out.
Exactly. And Bo, he does not take stupid penalties. He's not that guy, so when he speaks, you're going to listen. It's just I feel like his game isn't where he wants it to be, so he's not going to be too vocal.
Yeah, he needs to step up. Like,
yeah. We need freaking playoff Bo Horvat right now.
Yes, we do. But I think we're not making the playoffs. Like, that's not happening.
No,
like,
I don't have any expectation of making the playoffs now. If we would have beat the Ducks soundly, I'd be excited about it.
Me too. Like, my mind would have been completely, like, my mindset would have been completely different. Like, I'd be like, okay, we're on a 3-game winning streak, right? Let's keep the ball rolling and shit. Yeah. But it was just like, and especially because it happened so, like such a short amount of time ago against the Islanders. Like, we saw this exact same thing happen. And the Islanders aren't good. Like, no. I shouldn't say that because they're healthy now and they're starting to roll a little bit. But like,
they're a team we should beat.
Yeah, they're not a fast team. Like, they're one of the few teams we're faster than them.
Yeah, and, I like that Boudreaux said this in the post-game press conference as well. Is that like Anaheim came off a little losing streak, so they're coming out fired up. They know that.
Yeah.
And we came out soft as hell. We came out like we didn't care to be there.
Like a 30-year-old Pepsi.
Exactly, and that's worrisome. Like, when a coach sees that, he's like, oh no. Like, we got to make some big changes here. Like, something's broken.
Yeah.
Like, a team's coming into your barn. You're at full capacity for the first time in weeks.
You do fuck all in that first
Nothing.
period.
Like, that's sad.
Yeah.
And you could tell the look was all over Demko's face. He's like, me and Petey were the only ones who showed up to play tonight or what?
Yeah.
Because that's what it looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, so now that we've taken a little breather here and we've calmed down a little bit, found our zen, let's talk about Jack Rathbone.
Yeah.
Was playing lights out in the AHL. Took a bad hit from behind, right in the numbers into the boards from Colton Skeevier, I believe was the player, unless there's a different Skeevier in the AHL. Was on the ice for a long time, stretched it out, I believe 13 minutes it was, and it looked way worse than it actually was released from the hospital the next day. They were monitoring him. He was expected to join the team in a couple days in their game against Colorado, still in the AHL. But we just wanted to mention that because it did look scary.
He's our most exciting prospect right now. So for him to go down like that, it was definitely scary.
And he really has just been starting to find his game in the AHL. Was just named the AHL Player of the Week. Had 10 points. I want to say in 5 games.
It was ridiculous.
The game he got hurt had 2 assists already. So we're glad. Obviously everybody's happy he wasn't seriously injured. Whenever somebody gets stretchered off the ice, you're always concerned. Like
a freaking Brock Besser back break or something like that. That's the scary stuff, man. You don't want your prospects having to go through big injuries. You seen Bess, he had a cold season after that, and it's because, man, that's hard on the mentality. And I'm sure Rathbone's gonna go through it a little bit here. That's scary stuff, man. It's hard to come back from that, so I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, and 2 game suspension for Colton Sevier, who got called up to the NHL, so I don't think his suspension won't kick in until he gets sent down.
Yeah.
Probably should have got more than 2 games, but
100%.
I don't know his history in the AHL. It was, and I don't think he's a vicious player or anything like that. It's
one of those things.
Just a bad hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like Rathbone's okay and gonna be playing soon. So
that's what we like to hear.
Yeah,
he's our most exciting prospect right now. I wanted Rathbone to play this season, but I understand why he's not. He's getting his experience. He's getting his confidence up in the AHL. He's lighting it up. Let him finish the season out there. Hopefully he plays for us all season next season because we're gonna need some D-men.
Hopefully he's playing for us at the deadline when we ship out a couple bombs here.
100%.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention: Patrick Elvan was on the Canucks Hour podcast with Thomas Drance. Had a 10-minute interview with him. It was very open and honest, which I liked a lot, and pretty funny too. And it's such a opposite of Benning. Benning would talk to the media, it felt like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And this guy's only been in town for a week, so for him to already be on a podcast, he was interviewed at intermission during one of the games, things like that, and just very
putting his face out there.
Yeah, and not giving you we're definitely shopping JT Miller or anything like that, but giving you an idea of what he wants to do and how they're going to run things with all the assistant general managers and between him and Rutherford, right? Because he's the GM, but I think Rutherford's kind of running the show a little bit.
Oh, for sure. He's calling the shots, and he's got his guys in the office making suggestions, but Rutherford's definitely the driver right now, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to work out very well between everybody in the management. So just something if you want to go check it out. It was an interview done by Thomas Trance, the Canucks Hour podcast. So plug for a competitor podcast. So when the Canuckleheads is number 1 on the chart there, just remember we were throwing you guys bones.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of mostly everything I think we wanted to talk about there. We can get into some score predictions here if we want.
Yeah.
Let's pull up the games this week here.
Which this week, I don't know if I have the highest hopes. Obviously, we're going to have to play with more fire than what we've had. I hope to God we can find it in these next few games, because if we don't, especially on the road coming up here, it's going to be a tough week.
Well, even like Elvan said that he needs some time to judge this group, right? Yeah. But I think they've left a pretty bad first impression.
Yeah. So I think they think, in their minds right now, they're saying this isn't the squad.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another totally tradable player is Tyler Mott. I don't want him to go anywhere because I like Mott.
Me too.
And I know people are all very concerned about overpaying for a 4th liner. But if you can get Mott for 2, even 2.5, I'm all right with that. He's more valuable than that, Yeah. And it's so hard to find the right pieces in the NHL, right? We have a 4th line
that's solid.
Could potentially play up to a 3rd line a little bit, right?
Right now they're almost playing like our 2nd line.
Yeah, and they're you don't have to worry about it, right? They're a line. Those are 3 players done. And Mott's your best penalty killer.
Yep.
I get he's 26, going to be 27, right? And you worry about injuries and stuff with him. But to me, he's still got lots of prime years left, right?
Lots.
If you can sign him for 3-4 years, I would do it.
Yep. I'd lock him up.
Yeah. Very I don't want to give him 3. I don't really want to give him 2.5.
Yeah,
but
no, I'd give him 200%. He's worth every penny of that money. There's guys like Myers. He's not worth, like, he's worth half of what he's making now. But I mean, Tyler Mott, he's worth every penny at $2 million. If we could get him on that, I'm totally happy with that.
And I don't really know what he's looking for, him and his agent, but I haven't really heard anything on that. But just another thought that popped in my head here.
Yeah.
So this week we have 2 games that we'll go over. Tomorrow night, the Kraken are in Vancouver. What do you think, Wes?
I have no confidence, but I do have confidence against the Kraken, especially in our barn again. And especially coming off that Ducks performance. I think we put a beat down on them. I'm hoping it's like 5-2. That's what I'm going with for the Vancouver Canucks.
I'm thinking like 4-2 for the Canucks.
Yeah.
I think Demko's going to be pissed. I think he's going to have a good game.
Yeah.
I hope Grubauer doesn't start because Grubauer always plays us tough.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But I think this is a game where we got to put 50 shots on net. Like, we got to pepper them.
There's like no forgetting how to play hockey for 10 minutes. There's no showing up late and starting the game in the second period.
Yeah, we need to play 60 minutes this game. Like, this is a team we should smoke. 60 minutes of solid hockey, hard hitting, peppering the goalie with shots. We need to come out fired up.
Like, if they come out flat against the Kraken in the first period and they're down 3-0 after, like, that's it for this team.
Yeah, that's it.
Completely it.
You're done.
Then the next night, not the next night, that Thursday night, the 24th, Calgary in the house.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if you saw it, we're wearing the skate jerseys.
Yes.
They're coming back.
They've been teasing it for frickin' like 2 weeks now.
They tweeted out today the date.
Good.
And then they had a little video of all the moments in the skate jerseys.
So that's how you know we're already catching a dub. 3-1.
I was thinking the same thing. This is going to be a Demko versus Markstrom 2-1 Vancouver.
Let's go.
So those are the only games this week. We'll go over our Canucks of the week.
Yeah.
Also, I apologize. We keep forgetting to go back and looking at score predictions. We're really bad at that.
Yeah. We'll eventually get a system down where we know, like, we'll write it down. Yeah. Like, almost we should write it down right now.
Yes, you're right.
And then we'll get those rolling more consistently.
Kraken. So what did you say against the Kraken? 5-2?
5-2, yeah.
And I said 4-2.
Yeah. And then you said Calgary 3-1.
And I said 2-1.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Right. So, Canuck of the Week, Wes, who you picking?
Elias Pettersson.
Elias Pettersson. For the first time this year, Elias the Alien Pettersson is our Canuck of the Week.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, that's a lie. He was the one we picked too.
Yeah, I've picked him a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have. I picked him last week too.
Oh, okay.
But this week again, I just felt like his game is just coming like this. Like, he started off slow. He's on the consistent rise. He had the most hits last game in a lackluster game. He was obviously trying to show the boys, I'm trying to win this hockey game.
Petey was great against the Ducks. Like, the only Canuck where you can be like, man, he had a good game.
Yeah.
3 points, a goal, and 2 assists.
Yep, he's been great.
The game against San Jose, I tweeted out maybe 10 minutes into the game. I was like, Petey's feeling it tonight.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of it, like I don't have any like followers on Twitter and shit, but a bunch of people were liking it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everybody thinks the same thing. And he had a good game against San Jose too.
Great game.
And like was doing like confident Petey moves with the puck.
Crazy dangles. To
where you're like, okay, this is the Petey we all know and love. This is the guy that, needs to show in the last half of the year here. Like,
you can tell with his goals has been coming his confidence.
Yes.
Like, his confidence is coming into full form. He's making those moves again. He's shooting the puck like he used to. We got Petey back.
Yeah. And again, still like, not like first year Petey, but definitely way better. So he's still got room to get better.
Exactly. Like, he's still coming up. Like, we have not seen the best Petey this season yet.
Yeah.
But I like that it's like mid-season that he's coming around because this is where we really need him.
And it'll be good for him. Like, no matter what happens with the Canucks this year, it's good for him to finish this half strong, right? So there's no doubt next year he's like I am the player that I know I am, right? Like, there's none of this like.
It's the sophomore slump. It happens to so many guys, and
well, this is his 4th season, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of like that young, like new guy vibe is gone. You're a legitimate NHL player now, and
it's hard to, right? Because him and Hughes are hand in hand, right? Quinn Hughes can jump into a game after 3 months of not playing and be great.
Yeah.
Petey needs some warm up. He needs to like not ease into a season, but he definitely needed the preseason. He needed training camp, and he didn't really get a ton of that this year. So
yeah, a little less social media, a little more hockey. And he said it himself, like, maybe I was a little too, you know what I mean? It is what it is, man. He's definitely coming around, and I'm so excited about it because we need him. He's a leader on this team, and if we ship out JT Miller, I want to see that A go directly on Elias Pettersson's sweater.
Probably be Myers, but I agree with you.
No, Tyler Myers.
It's off with your head.
Exactly. I was just about to say it. Elias Pettersson, the way he played last game, he's a leader on this team. You throw the A on his sweater, he deserves it.
What about Quinn?
Quinn, he could definitely have an A on his sweater. Sutty, you're out of here.
We should talk about Sutter too. Yeah. There were some things announced like that we don't expect to see him back this year.
Yeah.
And this is all COVID related. Yeah. Like he's dealing.
It's sad. Yeah, it really is sad.
Because Sutter's always had wheels. He's been a good skater, so he's not like an ineffective player.
Great centerman.
There was a lot of talks that this was gonna like be it for his career, but then he like made a statement saying like he plans to, like he's getting better and better. Like, but he's probably not playing this year. He plans to continue his career. So
yeah,
it's good to hear that. Shitty circumstances for him. Like we wish him all the best. Like
I love Sutty.
Yeah, like was overpaid for a stretch there, but.
Now he's on the right contract.
We were happy to have him back for whatever, $1 million or whatever he signed for. Like that's a good deal for a fourth line center.
For a guy that wins 80% of his draws, that's great.
And a guy we could use too, right? Like a right-handed centerman. Yeah. Like we needed one of those on the penalty kill.
Yeah, we may not even acquire Jason Dickinson if we had Sutter, right? Like, why even?
Or Lamico.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's funny because I think Dickinson was a little more highly touted than Lamico.
Oh, yeah.
But look at the difference. Like, Lamico has shown, like, he's obviously right now in a way better spot than Jason Dickinson.
Yeah.
So.
And, like, I know we just traded for him and signed him to an extension, but if you could shop and get Dickinson out of here, I'd be all right with that.
Me too.
Like,
get out of here.
No offense against the guy, but yeah.
He doesn't fit. It's almost like Schmidt.
Yeah,
I liked Schmidt, but he just did not fit with the squad.
Doesn't fit for whatever reason.
Yeah, and that's Jason Dickinson. It's written all over his face. I don't want to see him play on this team anymore. Tanner Pearson out of here. Jason Dickinson out of here. JT Miller here out of here. Just move some pieces, get some fresh guys on the squad, and let's try and revamp this team a little bit.
Yeah, and then because I think the Canucks management has said too, right? Like they don't view this as a rebuild, right? Like we're not tearing it down to the same Arizona style.
You have some core guys.
Yes, yeah. To me, it's a lot more like the Colorado Avalanche situation, right? Where you're shipping out Ryan O'Reilly or like
just some pieces.
Yeah, like something's not working. You have a good team, but something's not working, right? Yeah. Like you get rid of O'Reilly and Duchesne. Yeah. You get in a bunch of assets, and then you build this juggernaut of a team. Like that's what we need to do right now.
Yeah.
I think we only really have the one piece that's gonna go. I doubt you trade.
Which is JT.
Yeah, I doubt you trade Besser or Bo or anybody else really.
I don't want to see any of those guys go. It's just with frustration, you're almost ready to let those guys go.
Yeah.
Because it's like we need something that works. And those guys work. It's just we need some new pieces to help it work.
I think Miller also is a very loud voice on this team. Whether he's like super vocal or not, he's a big personality in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not working. There's something like we talked about. Like he'll give it to you if you're not going good, and maybe the guys are just tuned him out, and there's just some chemistry issues that aren't clicking.
And if he wasn't taking those dumb penalties and throwing his temper tantrums, I think guys would always stay tuned into him and always listen to him. But since he has that side to his game, I think some guys, if he gives it to them, they're just like, shut up, buddy.
Yeah, like
you took 3 stupid penalties. It cost us 2 goals. Like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. JT Miller's at his highest peak right now, I believe. Trade him.
And like we talked about before too, like you get attached to players. Like we don't hate any of these guys.
No,
like,
I love JT Miller.
Yeah, it's just something's gotta change.
Yeah.
So
big changes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'll do it for episode 20.
Yeah.
If you like the show, please go ahead. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere there's podcasts. Anywhere there's podcasts. You can check us out on YouTube, the Canuckleheads podcast. Click all the buttons and shit. Type stuff to us. We'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Unless you're a dick.
Comment, man. You. Come on now. We're friendly guys. We've had some conversations in the comments in the past. Let's try to get those comments up a little bit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Another one in the bag.